Hi, today Kheoh, Ting, Ying and I, Chen and Ning, will be here to present to you Miss Rusniyati on the cultural profile of a Malaysian organization. And today we'll be talking specifically about a company that's called FashionValet.
Now let's talk about introductions of FashionValet. FashionValet is the Malaysia-based company and well-known brand in the modern fashion industry which established in November 2010 selling modern fashion shoes, accessories, and swimwear. They provide customer service and support teams all over the world to reach their customers. FA has built its brand over 10 years, being a platform to many modern fashion brands as well as developing their own lineup of house brands. The FA Group today has opened 10 retail stores and still counting. They employ over 150 staff with the 3 physical stores in Kuala Lumpur. Their office in Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia as well. The Dark Group is a FV another subsidiary company. It's the new cool phone, lifestyle fashion accessory wear and living, offering scarf collection, stationaries, and home and living products in existing graphic prints and living colors. The community line are now featured in Sephora and was nationwide.
Now, first of all, let's talk about the mission and vision of Fashion Ballet. So the vision of Fashion Ballet was actually to grow Fashion Ballet into a multi-million dollar company that champions local designers in Asia. Whereas, in terms of their mission, is actually to elevate the local fashion scene to an international stage. As you can see, in their organization team, it consists of course, firstly, the co-founder and the CEO of Fashion Valet, who is Fazzaruddin Anwar, followed by the co-founder and managing director of Fashion Valet, which is Vivi Yusuf, followed by the general manager, who is called Nadia Nozudi, and from then on, it's being separated into 5 different departments. The first one being the sales department, the second one being the marketing department, the third one being production department, fourth one being the finance department, and lastly, the human resources department.
Let's talk about the co-founder CEO. Fazluddin Shah Arnold is the CEO of FashionValet with his partner Vivi Yusuf, while Vivi runs as the face of FashionValet. Fazan leads the company's strategy planning and business development as the CEO. Vivi Yusuf is the Chief Creative Officer at FashionValet, a fashion e-commerce company founded by herself and her husband Fazluddin Anwar in 2010. Vivi has been featured in many local international media platforms such as BBC, CNBC, The New York Times. She is often invited to give entrepreneur talk as a female youth business icon.
So this presentation will consist of 5 different parts. The first one being the Western and global structures, the second one being the Western and global principles, the third one being the indigenous systems and practices in terms of the formal side of it, the fourth one being the indigenous systems and practices in terms of the informal side of it, and lastly, a discussion on how FashionValet successfully blend or failed to blend into the Malaysian cultural influences and global structures and principles of management.
Now moving to the Western global structures. According to the interview in 2016, MBA event Vivi Yusof, the manager director, mentioned that their decision making is based on majority of staff discussion. Therefore, flatter structure and democratic leadership can be seen in this company. Besides that, their growth outside of comfort zone, meaning they're developing the first e-commerce platform in 2010 when Malaysia launched off online market at that time. However, they're still learning from overseas started their business. Next, they also focus on employee retention strategies to retain talent in this company, meaning they appreciate local talented designer. That's the reason they decided to work with local designers. Western and global principles. FashionValet is kind of the collegial model, meaning it's based on the teamwork. Everybody in this company is encouraged to work together to build and hide their target. Moreover, Vivi yourself, the manager director of FashionValet, she focuses on the teamwork and create positive and energetic workplaces. Now let's talk about indigenous systems and practice formal systems. Meetings. The managements and divisions within this company are typically written and explain clearly the roles and responsibilities of every employee. They also giving clear directions in their instructions and comments to others to achieve desired goals.
Now let's talk about the indigenous systems and practices from the informal system side of it in terms of hierarchy. So when it comes to celebrating festivities of any form of mutual celebration, example, the National Day, costume nights, and etc., the employer, Vivi Yusuf herself, would not strictly adhere to the hierarchical structure of a company, where she would treat herself to be on par as the employee, and joining in the celebration without feeling any form of superiority towards her employees, just because she is the co-founder and the managing director of the company. Secondly, it is also a culture that has been embedded in the company or organization itself, whereby employees are all treated equally without any form of prejudice or special treatment given to the position that the person is in the organization structure. Hence, a culture of family-oriented organization and company is very much evident in FashionValet that values their employees. And now talking of the indigenous systems and practices in the informing system side of it when it comes to the reward system. Now, firstly, this company is very much known as a company that gives out bonuses, payments, and of course, green packets that is usually handed out on the last day of work 3 days before Hari Raya as a token of appreciation to each and every one of their employees for their hard work and effort in completing their tasks throughout the months in preparation for this Raya festive season. As you can see in the photo on the left side of it, where the whole group of employees came out together, to celebrate and to give each and every one of them a well wishes and salam before they departed and go back to their respective hometowns with the bonus and the green packets at hand that was handed out by Vivi Yusuf and Fazarudin. Besides, the employees would also be rewarded with a short vacation or a company trip to a place as a form of reward for their sheer effort and commitment to their work. And this is also very much evident through a series of photographs that is normally shown on Vivi's blog, as she is very much known as a blogger even before she became an entrepreneur and establishing this multi-million-dollar online platform that is well known globally today.
Now talk about indigenous systems and practice. Informal system on employee benefits. They provide fun working environments places such as gyms, pantry, library, and the chill desk area and amphitheater. They also redeem free lunch to their employees. Indigenous system and practice informal system that building in formal group. In the past, fashion shopping in offline market was popular. However, online market is more required in this advanced technology nowadays. By strengthening the local brands to the worldwide customers, the organizer hired the engineers teams to develop a better online retail store. With their team, they successfully get the partnership with Malaysia Airlines. Building informal group, they upgrade their team, learn from their competitive, and appreciate feedback and suggestions then receive. Today, they have another subsidiary company, the dark groups. From a small team to the worldwide outlets, they become stronger year by year.
Now let's move on to the indigenous systems and practices when it comes to the bonding in informal group. Well, groups within a large team or department, they would occasionally come together after working hours and express and share their experiences working in a company as means to actually know and gain a better understanding amongst each other within the employees community. This is in a way to strengthen the bond between the employees who normally doesn't have much time to know about each other because they're so occupied with their work. Hence, FashionValet has this culture of actually having their employees to stay back slightly much later after work, after working hours, to actually sit down at the amphitheater area in which they have in their office to discuss and to exchange their points of view, to exchange about their personal interests, things in which they could interact on a personal level in order to gain a better understanding of their own colleagues with whom they work with on a daily basis. So that is very important in terms of having to bond with your colleagues, to bond with the people whom you work with on a daily basis. Besides that, the employers, Fazza and Vivi themselves, are also very much open to the idea of actually carrying out and conducting prayers on certain occasions together with their employees. This sort of like in turn helps to strengthen the bond among themselves, not only on the personal level, but also on the spiritual and religious level.
What is the Western culture adopted in this company? Based on the research, such as they're using the English language in writing and verbal communications to their international customer and social media, such as their Facebook page and Instagram page. They learn from UK developing the online shop market in Malaysia in 2010. Email and other online communication is more frequently than other countries in Asia. They believe workplace in fun environment that enhance the productivity of employees. They celebrate the Western festivals such as hosting events and promote giveaway during Christmas. FashionValet also adopt local culture, the spoken language, not only English, and the national language of Malaysia, Malay. They celebrate the local festivity while hosting events and promoting a new fashion series that related to local culture or local festivity.
Now, moving on to the very last part, come the question of how Fashion Ballet successfully blend or failed to blend into the Malaysian culture of influences and global structures and principles of management. Well, from what we have observed is that overall, after all this sort of research that's being done, after all this that we have presented, we have come to realize that Fashion Ballet has successfully done so in the sense that despite the application of global structure and principles of management in their organization, which seems a little rigid and yet democratic at the same time. However, one thing that they did not neglect was the blend and influences of the Malaysian culture, whereby it gives them the opportunities for both employers and employees to bond and embrace the differences of each ethnicity's cultures and festivities, which is solely not only expressed through their coming together and celebrating in the office, but also, most importantly, through their fashion campaign or fashion series that are always launched in conjunction with the upcoming festivals and celebrations. So in that sense, yes, it's true, Fashion Valley runs like any Western or global principles based on the global structures and principles of management. You know, they still have that working hours from 9 to 5 and all that, and they still have this culture of actually working in the physical office itself, and of course they still have that hierarchy in the organization chart. But after all, despite all of that, and yet they did not neglect the part about having to still embrace and see the importance of coming together as a whole to celebrate the festivities, the cultures, the differences of their very own employees who helped to build this company together to where it is today. And I think that is really, really important. And in that sense, Fashion Ballet has successfully blended in to the Malaysian cultural influences and global structures and principles of management. And in conclusion, through this assignment, we have realized that it is very important that a successful organization should not only adapt to the Western and global structures and principles, but also to take into consideration of the context in which the company or organization in which it is based at, be it a country or a region in any parts of the world. After all, where a company is based at is where their own citizens takes up the majority number of their employees. Hence, it is very important that the employers think of the well-being and being very sensitive to the cultures and celebration that means a lot to the employees themselves. One must remember that when we keep our employees happy, appreciated, as well as cared for, and be respectful of their cultures and differences, they will take care of the organization and do well in their job in return of the favor of what we have given and respected their cultures for in the end of the day. So this is really something that Melissa and I have thought about, and we have come to a conclusion that this is very, very important as a whole in the Malaysian organization. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much, and that's it for our presentation. Thank you, Miss.